Vaginal gymnastics is basically the ability to control your pelvic floor muscles to an extreme level, as in being able to create this dexterity where you move your vagina in dozens of unique and very, very pleasurable ways during sex. We're talking squeezing, milking, locking, twisting, ringing, sucking, massaging, controlling. We have a lot of names for the different exercises, but basically we stopped counting at 36 different moves that you can do with your vagina.
Welcome to the Bomb Life Podcast, where fitness, mindset, and real talk collide. This isn't just about workouts. It's about transforming your body, mind, and life. Get ready for unfiltered conversations, expert advice, and the motivation you need to level up in every way. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Bomb Life Podcast. I am Melissa Vogel, your host. Welcome to the show. If you're brand new, I'm so excited for you to be here on this episode. And chances are someone recommended this particular episode for you because it is a very special and unique one. Oh my God, I can't wait to dive into it. Wait until you guys hear what this is all about. Now, and if you're a returning guest, welcome back. I can't forget about you guys, my loyal listeners. Okay, so this episode comes with a little bit of warning, but the warning doesn't come yet. In about 20 minutes or so, there's your warning, because we're talking all about female things. So if you have people listening in right now with you to the episode, in about 20 minutes, turn it down, save it for you later, ladies. And ladies, this one's for you. Sorry, guys. This episode is all about you. And I'm just going to say this: vaginal gymnastics. Enough said, right? So save this episode for you. It's not that it's bad or anything, but it does come with a little bit of a warning today. Now, this episode today is different as well. So you have two guests on today with two different topics, and this is something new that we are starting. So first, you guys are going to hear from Jared St. Clair. And Jared is from a Vitality Radio podcast, and he has been on before. Jared is an herbalist and expert in natural supplement formulation with over 30 years of hands-on experience running Vitality Nutrition. He is incredible. He has been a guest on this show before. I have been a guest on his. Jared is now also one of my clients. We work very closely together. And I'm like, you know what? We need to have you on once a month and dive into all of your supplement questions, because I get a lot of them, and some of them are very science-based. There's a lot on the market and we just don't know what to trust. So I'm like, Jared, why don't you come on the first of every month and we'll dive into all of the questions that we get on the show, and you can give us real answers. Here we go. Give us the truth about it. So that's what we're doing today. I'm really excited about it. Today we're diving into creatine. So everything that you needed to know about creatine, the questions that you have, Jared is answering those questions. It's so good. You guys are going to learn so much. So first, let me welcome Jared St. Clair to the show. All right, welcome back. I told you that was going to be good, right? Did you know all of that about creatine? There is no downside, right? Jared is so amazing. So right into the show, it's Melissa Vogel at gmail.com. And we will continue to plug through your questions. Sometimes we'll answer multiple, sometimes we'll stick to one topic. Creatine's a lot, so we just stuck to the one today, but I told you it was good. All right, so now let's dive into our guest for today on the show. Our main guest, Jared, is our special guest. Today we have Belle Di Lorenzo. And I told you guys, we're talking about vaginal gymnastics. What is that? What the heck is she talking about? Yes, we're going into pelvic floor, but we're going into the history of pelvic floor training and the science behind it, the relationship between muscle and sexuality. You guys, we've talked about pelvic floor before. We've talked about this stuff on the show, but we have never dove in to it like this. How I giggle like I'm 6 years old. How your vagina works has never been explained to us like this before. Now you see why I'm maybe turn down the volume a little bit. This is an episode just for the ladies. So yeah, this is just for us ladies. So if you're a guy, maybe go to the next episode. But how building muscle affects pleasure for women. What's the science say about all of this? Belle is absolutely phenomenal. Now, she's the CEO and founder of Goddess, Goddess, and author of the best-selling book, The Goddess Method, which dives into the world of vaginal gymnastics. And over the years, she has empowered women worldwide by coaching them in this practice, which enhances female pleasure, boosts libido, and amplifies orgasms. Her mission is to help more women discover the transformative power of these gymnastics through practical, science-backed content and to pioneer advancements in female health research. I told you, Belle is good. This is a conversation that's just going to blow your mind. And then hopefully after, you're blowing your own mind and your partner's mind. I mean, the conversation is just unbelievable. We are so lucky to have Belle on. So go to the show notes, get a link to her book, really consider signing up for her course. All the information is there, all her social media. Go follow her, go learn more. We've never made this muscle connection before. You guys have heard me talk about muscle connection, mind, body, all of that stuff, but never in this way. Phew, mind blown. It's so freaking cool. So I can't wait to have more conversations with Belle. I can't wait for you guys to learn. And then again, right into the show. 1, tell me what you think of our guests. 2, tell me what topics you want to cover, what questions you have for Jared. And 3, just give me your overall input. We love hearing from you. You can also message me on Instagram at It's Melissa Vogel. Send me a DM. That's where I live. I love having you guys there. As always, rate and review this show. 5 stars if you feel appropriate, and leave us a review. I can't tell you how much it helps the show. We love hearing from you guys. And always go to the show notes. You're going to find everything you need there. If you're looking to take your muscles, your vagina muscles, but then also every other muscle in your body to the next level, book a call, discovery call, 15 minutes with me. If we need to talk longer, we'll make time for it. Let's dive in and see how we can get you living your best life ever. All right, everyone, enjoy the show. Hey everyone, welcome to the Bomb Life podcast. Today we have Belle Lorenzo on. Welcome to the show, Belle.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk.
I'm thrilled. I know, like before we even hit record, you guys were already like laughing.
I've just been talking for a while already. Yep.
Laughing and talking it up. But we're going to talk about vaginas today.
Well, yeah.
And I have to laugh. I'm like a 5-year-old child. Vagina.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. Yeah. I need to stop laughing every time I say it. My CEO says it's not very professional.
You know what? I'm told that a lot. I'm like, whatever. So you know what? It's working for me.
Correct.
Now you're the best-selling author too. You are the author of the best-selling book, The Goddess Method. Now that dives into the world of, I was trying to practice this, you guys, pompoir.
But you can say pump. It doesn't.
Okay.
I don't think
pompoir. No, I didn't say it right.
Pompoir is perfect. It is.
Which is vaginal gymnastics.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Ladies, we're going to dive in here. First, I have to know, how and why did you specialize in this and write a book? How did this become your thing?
It's a weird mix of me having been a very horny teenager and not getting any, because I was very much a nerd. I'm still very much a nerd. And so I was a very uncool teen who didn't know the first thing about sex, but was obsessed with the concept of sex. I had a really great sex education teacher who basically...
I love this.
It's amazing. I had a great sex education teacher at 16, I think, who basically taught us how to masturbate. Like basically explained us, because she knew that a lot of my girlfriends were having sex already with their boyfriends because it was the thing to do, but nobody actually knew about their own pleasure. So she basically told us, go home, check with a mirror, try to see your lady bits, understand what's going on here. She showed us the anatomy, what we should look out for. And I knew straight away no one was going to do it, but I was a straight A student. So I went home and I did my homework. And so then she gave us some ideas on how to start touching ourselves. And so basically I had over from that point on, I became obsessed with it. I had basically half a decade of unadulterated, unfiltered masturbation. Like it was the thing that I did before an exam to calm me down. It was the thing that I did before bed to go to sleep. Like I wasn't having any sex. whatsoever. I
Oh my
was very,
God.
very much a virgin throughout high school, throughout college, but still, it was a big thing for me. So I understood my pleasure really early on,
Yeah.
much before I even had sex. But when I started with all of this, I was like, I was obsessed with the concept of sex and the idea of sex. And as a type A person, I was like, when the time comes, I want to be great at it. I want to be the fucking best at it. And so that's when I came across the term pompoir, the idea that some women throughout history, like Cleopatra, Jeanne de Poitiers, Wallis Simpson, were able to like enchant this powerful man and gain power through that by basically doing these crazy things with their vaginas. And so I love that idea, but nobody taught you how to do it. Like there were a lot of
Right.
stories and historians telling of these women, but nobody gave you the step by step. Nobody. There was nothing on that. Time moves on, and I started having my first boyfriend. Sex was okay, so it was fantastic. Everything about that relationship was terrible, except for the sex, which is a very sad fact of life sometimes. And then on my second relationship, where everything else was fantastic, the sex was missing. And not from my end. I had, very strong libido because I'd been masturbating for what was maybe 10 years at that point. It was very much from his end. He had gone through some trauma, which we don't really think about when it comes to men. I thought for a long time the fact that he didn't want to have sex that often was a reflection on me. I was like, okay, clearly I'm not sexy. Clearly this is on me. Clearly there's something missing. And he was an absolute sweetheart. We're still best friends to this day. And he was like, no, it has nothing to do with you. This is the stuff that happened to me before. That's why I relate to sex, to work and pressure and all of these things. And so because he had such a bad connotation, bad association when it came to sex, I was like, okay, what can I do? Because we were just starting the pandemic. We were living together in this tiny studio apartment with nothing to do but have sex. And I wasn't getting any. So I'm like, okay, this needs to be fixed because I'm going to go crazy. So I decided to go back to my research. And I was still, all those years, I still had in the back of my mind that I wanted to learn this pompoir thing. Went back online, still nothing. There was one book that supposedly taught you pompoir. I bought it. I started reading it. It was super hard to understand. Like, this is exactly what the author said when it came to like the twisting motion. Imagine that you have a pen between your fingers, between the palms of your hands, and you're rolling it up and down. And that was it. That was the explanation.
Good God.
And I'm like, okay, so what do I do with that? No images, no visuals, no infographics. There was no way I could understand it. It felt like a bad translation of a book. But again, the author, it felt like it was a book explaining to you what it was, not how to do it.
Right.
And I was so tired of that. But the pandemic, like many of us, it gave us a unique opportunity.
Yeah.
Because I'm from Argentina and we were in Buenos Aires at the time, and we had one of the strictest lockdowns, really long, really strict. We couldn't go to the gym. We couldn't go for a walk. You couldn't do anything. So I love lifting weights. I really, really enjoy lifting weights. I love fitness. So I couldn't go to my gym. So we and my partner, we had devised for ourselves kind of like a calisthenics plan of body weight training to do in the apartment. So I was learning a lot about muscle building and muscle biomechanics just in order to put together this plan for myself. And so I said, well, I could potentially apply everything that I'm learning to the muscles that surround the vagina, right? Like if I'm able to like do so many exercises to build my glutes, surely the muscles that surround the vagina are not that dissimilar. So I started applying the concepts of fitness and the concepts of muscle biomechanics and learning about the pelvic floor. And we actually have a really good healthcare system. So I would get like appointments with doctors, with pelvic floor physicians and be like, potentially move my muscles this way and this way and this way. And they were like, I mean, yeah, potentially, but I don't understand why would you want to do that? I'm like, okay, no, that's fair. That's all I wanted to know. Great. And so I would use those sessions to kind of understand how the pelvic floor worked, right? And so I started devising my own plan. And so what I started doing was like, okay, on Mondays, I will train strength in the pelvic floor. On Tuesdays, I will train speed. On Wednesdays, I'll try skills because, these historians talk about a complete nerd. Complete type A, the last person who should own a sex company. So on Wednesdays, I was like, okay, well, I want to try a skill. Apparently, some women were able to twist, in ancient Greece. So like, how would twisting even work? I imagine I would press with the front wall of my vagina and then kind of aid it with the right wall to kind of shift to one side and pull with the back and then the other opposite motion for the other side. Okay, how would I do this? And so I would train isolating the different walls. And that's how I kept going. And my my partner was very much willing to be the guinea pig for this. And so we started having what I call a period of research sex. So we started having sex and I started trying these exercises that I was devising on him.
Uh-huh.
And our sex life basically took a 180-degree turn. He absolutely loved it. He was, he thought it was incredible sex. It brought a completely new dimension to sex. We were way more connected. We were having sex all the time. And more importantly, it did a lot of things for me. If I thought I had a high libido before, now was like 14-year-old boy discovering porn for the first time libido. It was insane. It was a mess. It was very unproductive. I'll just say that. So that's one of the things that happened. The other thing that happened is that I started getting a lot more vaginal orgasms. So G-spot orgasms, A-spot orgasms. And for those of you who have never had a cervical or A-spot orgasm, it feels like a very spiritual experience. Like your body is like an out-of-body experience. You leave your body and then you come back a better person. It's like very strange. You start crying. It spreads throughout your body. It's crazy. And now I know why. It's because there's a phenomenal research on this, that the cervix, or actually the A-spot, which is the anterior fornix, is directly connected to the vagus nerve. So it's a very emotional kind of orgasm. And they found this out because they did a study on women who had a spine nerval cord injury. So they couldn't have other types of orgasms. But when they stimulated their cervix, they realized that the cervix bypassed those nerves and went straight through the vagus nerve. And that's why those orgasms feel so intense and so emotional. And you might cry and it feels like a connection and like very, very emotional. So that's the reason why. Anyway, and the more I trained my vagina, the more I trained these muscles, the more I was having those types of orgasms. And the more it became my favorite, right? Because we always talk about the clitoris and it's fantastic, but your vagina is designed for pleasure. The inside of your vagina is supposed to feel very, very pleasurable. And so when you're basically training it constantly, you're creating all of this sort of like neural pathways between your brain and your vagina and the pleasure receptors. And so essentially you become way more optimized at drawing blood to that region. And so you become very aroused and you become very sensitive. And so that's what happened, right? And so what started out as an experiment to kind of fix my sex life and truly like help him ended up becoming something that I was like, oh my God, I love this. So he was actually the one who said, Belle, you need to train other people on this because you're young, it's great. But imagine like a woman who's been married for years and has never had a vaginal orgasm. Imagine women who have lost their libidos. So I was like, oh my God, okay, yeah, you're right. So then I started coaching women online for free. And those women, as soon as they started getting results, they started telling their friends and their moms and their cousins. And so like the practice started growing. And for an entire year, we coached like hundreds of women. I had to hire my own best friend, taught her the method, and then she started coaching other people. And so basically we taught everything for free. But what we asked was that they filled out a questionnaire explaining like, so that we could understand where they filled the exercises, the positions, everything, and how it improved, right? And so that's when we decided to start a course, basically a self-paced course. So I really like bringing infographics and animations to our practice just so that people can understand. So I designed and I illustrated an entire course. I had my other best friend animate the whole thing. And so we created a course, a complete online program, no pornographic imagery. It's all very beautifully designed so that it is basically friendly to everyone who wants to learn this. And so and then at the end of, I want to say 2022, we launched that with a company that was really interested in it. We launched it with their audience. It was huge. And so that's what we've been teaching for the last 5 years. And then last year, I decided to launch the book. Yeah, January 2024, we launched the book. And in November, it became a bestseller. And it's been just crazy, crazy ride ever since. That's the very long explanation.
No, I'm like, I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to say, because I'm like listening and learning. I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. I want to hear all of this.
This is insane.
This is fascinating.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I was really afraid to write the book for a few reasons. One, because a lot of people were asking for like my story, and I don't feel like I am the poster child for like sex because I grew up very religious. So like I had only a handful of partners. So I was like, I don't know if I'm like the sexiest person in the world. I don't know. I just happen to really geek out on this thing and I love it. But the stories of my misfortunes when it came to sex were fascinating for people. And they were like, I really resonate with this because it feels like in the sex industry, in the sex space, there are kind of like two camps. You have like the very raunchy and like almost gratuitous, overly sexual explainers, or you have the very spiritual, your young and your, how you connect in the tantric kind of scene. And I was like, I don't fit any of these camps. Like for me, it's more like sex feels amazing. How can we get more people to have more orgasms in a very pragmatic way? And then how can we talk about this like we talk about fitness, like we talk
I
about
know.
nutrition, like we talk about everything, because we're all here because someone had sex, right? So that's kind of my approach. And luckily it's been resonating with people. So it's good.
That's awesome. And you're really removing like the taboo around it and everything too. And people just aren't talking about it. Our episode out this week, I think we're talking about sex. It's a big topic and diving really in more to like the shame around it and how you're raised and, people that are really religious, how much that really messes with you later on in life. But this, I love how you're unveiling everything about the power of it and the power of everything going on down there because again, we're not taught. We don't have a roadmap. Like, I can't believe that you had someone actually teach and explain this to you. Like, were parents in an uproar? Like, I could only imagine if my daughter came home and told me this, I would be like, oh my God, tell me more. But other parents would be like, off with their heads, you know?
So the teacher, what she basically did is she explained some ways to sort of touch ourselves. So it was more like, I know you guys are having sex. I want you guys to understand that your pleasure is important and you shouldn't just do it because your boyfriend tells you to. And I
Right.
thought it was beautiful. So that's basically what she explained. I in the latest edition of the book, I dedicate the book to her because she was just amazing, right? But basically, yeah, it's not just that some things aren't taught. And obviously, masturbation, I think, should be taught. And a lot of these things should be taught, especially if you are having sex. You should know why you're doing it. And it should be for your pleasure. And sex and
Right.
orgasms have so many health benefits as well, right? But the whole concept of vaginal gymnastics and the idea that you can move your vagina to do all of these things to create your own pleasure, it's under researched, first of all. And it's also we don't know. Like, as I was saying, like I talked to so many pelvic floor physicians when I was designing the program. And I was like, well, could I potentially like move only one side and like kind of like shift it to this side? And as I pull with the other side and kind of shift and like move. And they were like, I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know why, but yeah, technically, yeah, the muscles can do that. So it was like very much the people who should know the most about it had no clue. They knew that, the muscles
Wow.
work in a certain way. So like potentially you could do it. It's really interesting. So my goal is to make vaginal gymnastics a standard practice that everyone just does because it's all about sexual health and it's a key part of your health.
God,
So
could you imagine if every woman knew this going into a relationship and a marriage? Dude, you'd be saving marriages left and right. Like,
that's the most beautiful messages that I get when I get emails from
I bet.
someone on the other side of the world being like, my husband and I had not had sex for like 12 years and now it's the most
Mm,
beautiful thing. Like that I
right.
start cry. I'm a crier. So like every time I get that, I'm like, oh, it's
Oh
beautiful.
my God. I love
Yeah.
that. I loved the part too. You were talking about the new neural pathways that you're making between like your brain and your vagina and stuff. And I, I love that explanation because I teach and coach people too in like the fitness space. And I'm always like, you have to actually know how to like work this
Mhm.
bicep. Like,
Mhm.
I spend a lot of time lifting. It sounds ridiculous with my
Mhm.
eyes closed because I just want to
Mhm.
feel
That's
what
wonderful.
muscle, what am I pressing? What am I
Yeah.
deadlifting? Like, what am I squeezing? And
Yeah.
you have to know, and the
That
more you
brain muscle
connect it,
connection.
yeah, that brain
Mhm.
muscle, it's so
Mhm.
powerful, and the more you do it and the quicker you do it and the faster you get there, the faster results you're gonna get. And people are like, "What?" I'm like, "No, if you actually slow down and just learn, you're
Yeah.
gonna get results faster." And their mind is just blown once that actually starts happening. They're like, "Oh my god, I've been training for years, but I never, like, made the connection." Never thought about that with everything
Absolutely,
going on.
absolutely.
That's
The
nuts.
the the brain is so involved in all of this. It's
Oh
yeah,
my god.
neuroplasticity is such a big part of this and the way that we can train ourselves. I related so much to like obviously dorky things. I'm teaching myself piano right now, right? And like at the beginning, you're like, well, there's no way my hands can do that. And then you're like, oh, okay, this makes a little bit of sense and this makes sense. And now I have this coordination and now I'm able to play a piece that I could never
Right.
play a year ago. And then for some reason, if I rest for 2 days and I come back to it, I play better. So like it's exactly the same concept of like your muscles work, your muscles are built during rest. Same for your brain. Like your learning is solidified when you rest. You break down your muscles when you practice, with active practice, and then during rest, that's when they build up stronger. All
Exactly.
those concepts happen in our bodies in every single thing that we do. And so it's like that's really the big takeaway. We'll talk about the specific exercises, obviously, but the big takeaway that I want people to get from this is your pelvic floor muscles, those that surround the vagina, work exactly like any other muscle. You have strength, you have speed, you have power, you have
Mind blown.
agility. They work exactly like any other muscle, so they can be trained exactly that way. You know how some people who have really developed pecs, they can like make them bounce and
Yeah.
move them in
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
isolation? Same thing, but even more with the vagina,
That's
because
crazy.
the vagina is an orifice, so it's surrounded. So not only do you have the right and left walls, you have the front and the back walls, you have the entrance, the middle, and the top. So there are what we call three axes of movement or three planes of motion where different exercises fall under. So when you get the book, you're like, oh, this is like the dorkiest fitness book. It's basically the science of the vagina. It's so nerdy. It's like it's me geeking out about
I
vaginal
love it.
biomechanics. But it's beautiful. It's a lovely thing. And something that we were talking right before is that I'm here in the US right now because the University of Miami and I were going to partner together to run the first vaginal gymnastics study.
That's
Because there's a
crazy.
lot of studies on Kegels and very simple forms of this, but actual vaginal gymnastics, dexterity, being able to move 12 unique regions inside the vagina. This is what we're going to be studying.
That's nuts. Okay, so I'm glad you brought up
Yes.
Kegels because I'm sure people are listening. What's the difference? What's the difference between vaginal gymnastics? Maybe explain what vaginal gymnastics actually is first, and then I know people are like, well, what's the difference then?
So, vaginal gymnastics is basically the ability to control your pelvic floor muscles to an extreme level, as in being able to create this dexterity where you move your vagina in dozens of unique and very, very pleasurable ways during sex. We're talking squeezing, milking, locking, twisting, ringing, sucking, massaging, controlling. We have a lot of names for the different exercises, but like basically we stopped counting at 36 different moves that you can do with your vagina. Kegels are one of them. So that's the easiest explanation. A Kegel is a very simple contraction. It's a very simple lift up and down. That's it. That's what a Kegel is. But then that's, for example, I was talking about planes of movement. That's an up and down movement. That's happening on the vertical axis of the vagina. But then you can move the right side alone and the left side alone. And then you can squeeze them together. And then you can squeeze them at different vertical levels. And then you can rock back and forth with your front and your back. And then you can direct your front wall to sort of twist or spin or control. Like there are so many different things that you can do because you're essentially being able to divide your vagina into 12 regions. So we have 3 levels up, but then we have a right side and a left side. So let's say entrance, right side, left side, middle, right side, left side, top, right side, left side. But then we have the front and the back. So you have front and back entrance, front and back middle, front and back top. Talking 12 regions of movement. Each of them feels entirely unique. Each of them can move in isolation, and you can teach yourself how to move everything in very different ways. Now, why would you want to do all of this? Well, first of all, because what we were talking about, you're creating all of this dexterity and you're creating a lot of sensations inside your vagina. So everything feels enhanced. If penetration before hasn't been the most mind-blowing experience of your life, it starts becoming that when you start training your vagina. You're basically creating all of these pleasure receptors inside of you. Everything becomes way more sensitive. It's like you're in a perpetual orgasm. G-spot orgasms become way more frequent. Cervical or A-spot orgasms become way more frequent. Obviously become, I hate the word tighter, but yes, you become really, really tight, but not just really tight. Really aroused, really lubricated. So people who have trouble with lubrication and arousal, that is no longer a problem when you start training your vagina because you're basically becoming really effective at drawing blood to that region. You make the whole loop of arousal way faster. So you get multiple orgasms, you get aroused much faster. A lot of people get aroused as they're training the exercises during the week. So I always say, make sure that you have a cold shower nearby because you might get really horny as you're training because a lot of these exercises just rub your vagina the right way. So like a lot of people use it just for masturbation.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is great. I'm not gonna lie, I'm sitting here totally squeezing everything right now.
Yeah, for sure. I know.
I'm sure everyone else is listening too. Come on, ladies. You know you're listening, sitting in the car going, oh my God, I'm squeezing, I'm feeling.
Totally. Super normal. So these are the biggest documented benefits of this type of training are, pleasure from any sort of penetration, whether it's your fingers, a toy, your partner, lubrication, arousal, libido, completely naturally, no matter the age. We have a woman who's 83 from Georgia, and she came to us because she used to be she identified a lot with the part of herself that was a very high libido, high sex drive person, and she lost it during menopause. And she was like, I don't think there's any cure for me. I just found this out and I just wanted to ask. And I said, let's start training. Let's see how it goes. And now this woman emails me every single month about the new guy that she's fucking in the nursing home. Every single month. Like she's my spirit animal. This woman is living her best sex life in her 80s. She's like, Belle, I was able to twist this man, this stuff. It's amazing. It's amazing. And it's beautiful because she felt so disillusioned because once you turn a certain age, it's like you're no longer a
Right.
sexual being. It's
Right.
done for you. And she was like, fuck that. Like
Right.
I really like that part of my personality and I want it back. And we were able to train that with her. And the third biggest benefit is just mind-blowing orgasms, more frequency of orgasms, different kinds of orgasms. A lot of people who have never had vaginal orgasms before, they become really frequent. A-spot orgasms, they become really frequent. What I always say though is that if you're in a casual relationship, I wouldn't use this because you won't be able to get that man to stop calling you because it becomes very, very pleasurable for the receiver as well. So yeah, I always say just use this on husband material because otherwise
Okay.
it will blow up your phone. It's going to be a nightmare because
That's hilarious. Okay, what
yeah.
about, because I know we have a really good mix of people that are in a
Mm,
marriage or a serious
mm,
relationship and single. I
mm.
swear to God, it's like 50-50. What do you say to the women that are single? How can they, I mean, do they need to get a big dildo to practice this? Like what are we talking here, Belle?
You don't need to get any toy. Like, of course, there are
Okay.
some toys that can help you with so we have something in our program called rites of passage. So like tests that you can do when you want to achieve really complex moves. And like a dildo or even Kegel weights can help give you a more visual feedback. I always say that your two best friends when it comes to vaginal gymnastics are your fingers. People hate me because we could be selling a lot of toys, but like for me, it's
Right.
like, I'd rather give you what really works. Your fingers are going to give you a lot of feedback because you basically have two parts of you that are having sensations, your fingers and your vagina. So you have the most accurate receptor here. Because if you do it on your man, like he's gonna love it, but he's not gonna be very useful to you. Like if you're like,
Yeah,
where are you feeling this? He's gonna be like, oh baby, this feels incredible. I love it. No, no, no,
exactly.
no, no. Where exactly are you
I need to
feeling
know
this?
top, right, left,
Yeah,
like give me
top right, going
details.
to shaft.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, they won't be helpful. They'll just love it. So your fingers are going to be great
Okay.
because that's when you'll be able to feel the different sensations on different parts of your fingers, whether you're
Mhm.
pressing them left or right, whether you're pressing back to front, like all of these different things. I am single right now, and I've never been more consistent with my training because there are many reasons. I actually asked this in my community a couple of months ago. I want to say because I wanted to write a blog post and I wanted insights from other girls who were single. There are a lot of things, but one of the things is once you start training this and you start walking around life knowing that you have this secret power, that you have like this magical vagina that can do all of this crazy
Right.
things, it kind of trickles down in every aspect of your life. Like a friend of mine, she's an architect and she works with construction workers. So it's a very male dominated environment.
Mhm.
And every time she's about to go on a meeting, she tells me that she does some exercises and then she goes because it makes her feel like so powerful, but also
Right.
centered in her femininity. It's a weird mix because it's a very powerful thing and uniquely to the woman that you can do, but it's also very feminine because it is something that, only people with vaginas can do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it connects you so much with that divine feminine energy. And so you
Mm.
walk differently. It's like you're exuding this weird confidence and this weird secret that not everyone knows that you
I
have,
love
right?
that.
But the other thing is, it's great for masturbating. It takes masturbation to the next level. So if you are touching yourself and you start squeezing in a certain way and you start doing your favorite moves in different positions, masturbation becomes very, very it's just wonderful because the same orgasms that you would get through penetration with a partner, you get them through masturbation as well. And so it's a very beautiful thing. And the third thing is obviously it's a different aspect of your fitness, right? Having a strong and flexible pelvic floor helps with many things. Like, for example, I lift weights. And so it helps me a lot now to brace my core and use my pelvic floor in alignment with the different exercises that I do. It helped me improve my strength, my strength PR in like squats and deadlifts. So like it's something that I didn't even think about when I first started training, but I'm like, oh, well, it makes sense. The pelvic floor is basically the basis of your body.
Right.
So it helps you center, right? It's a reactive muscle. It's a balance muscle. It helps with so much things. So I would say that that's one of the biggest things why you want to do it single, just pleasure for yourself and this confidence that you have. And also, I don't know, for me, being sort of turned on, there's a lot of research on this, but like being turned on makes me really happy and makes me really creative. So it really
Yes.
helps me. It's almost like, a lot of people talk about this with fasting when they're not eating food, that sort of feeling of like hunger. It's kind of like this feeling of, it's like this feeling of energy of doing something and channeling it into something else. It's kind of the same as being horny, I think, in that sense. Like you have this energy that you can basically project into something productive,
Yeah.
if you will, or
Yeah.
just go masturbate. That's also a
Right.
phenomenally viable choice.
Right, which is gonna equally produce all the right hormones and chemicals in your
Correct.
brain and, like, everything
Correct.
too. Yeah.
Imagine if you were just orgasming like 3 to 5 times a day. Like that's just a beautiful life. Just live. We should.
Right?
Life is too short to not be having multiple orgasms every day. Yeah.
Seriously, and I know so many women, it breaks my heart that, like, their sex life is just either gone or they just do it because
It's
he
an
is
afterthought.
yeah, it's, like,
Mhm.
all just for him, and, like, I have no desire for it anymore, and I'm like, "God," I said this before on other podcasts, like, "You're missing the sweet spots of
You're
life, like,
missing
those
s oh my
sweet parts that make us human,"
To
and
me, that's like having no sense of taste. It's
oh
like,
god,
imagine if
yeah.
you could not taste food.
Good way to put it.
Imagine if you couldn't taste food. Like, how sad would that be? Food is so delicious. And so, like, not experiencing that and not experiencing but that's the thing the fact that we are not taught any of this, it makes
No.
sense, right? So, like, for you, sex could be just someone grinding on you and, like, okay,
Yep.
hoping for that to be over so you can go take the kids to school. Like, it's so
Right, right.
completely away from what it should be experienced as, right? And yeah, those are the people that I love helping. When I get those messages, I'm like, "Oh my god." Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's beautiful. It's really nice.
Okay, can you give examples? Because I'm sure a lot of
Yes,
women
let's do
listening
it.
are, like,
Let's do it.
totally interested right now going,
Let's do it.
"I don't know what to do." I'm just, like, squeezing down there. Like, can you explain that? Like, what does this
Yes, of
really
course.
look like? And is
Of
this in the
course.
course? It's in the book?
It's everywhere. So the
Both?
program
Okay.
the program is our flagship course basically has everything. It's your one place for everything vaginal gymnastics. So we have
Okay.
a fundamental course, an advanced course, a lifestyle course. So I explained to you like obviously all the moves with animations, beautiful visuals. I wanted it to be a thing where like a mom can train and if a little kid walks in the room, they're not traumatized for life. It looks
Got it.
like just beautiful iconic imagery. Like all the vaginas are yellow, like you don't really see anything
Okay.
pornographic at all. And it makes sense because these are muscles that are inside of you. It's supposed to be educational, not supposed to be pornographic in any way.
Right.
So you get the animations of every exercise, you get the schedule, what you should do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You get everything. Then we have an advanced course that I launched at the beginning of this year with really, really complex stuff, like super, super complex things that a lot of women were like, I want to learn this and this and this. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's do this, the complex course. Then we have a lifestyle course where basically I show you different ways to make training more fun. So something, and this is just me being a crazy person, but like
I'm like,
I
"Isn't it
always
already fun?"
it's super fun, but I was like, if you're doing it every day, a few weeks, I'm like, how about we change it up? How about we
Uh-huh.
add some music? And so I basically designed like a guitar hero of vaginas so that with your favorite songs, you're matching the beats and the melodies to different exercises.
Uh-huh.
So you're just following along with your favorite songs and you're creating your own choreographies. That's just my weird
I love
brain.
it.
How it works. And then you get access to our community, you get access to me, you get access to you get a free copy of the book as well. That's your one place that you want to go. But I
Okay.
always tell people to start with the book because obviously it's a bigger investment to get the program, even though you get it for
Sure.
life. We have payment plans, but you want to
Sure.
start with the book because the book is going to be basically a great way to dip your toes into this and understand if it's for you because
Okay.
it's a training. Like I can tell you everything about weightlifting, and yet we're not all jacked because we have to put in the work. So I'm like, figure out if this is for you, and I give you the exercise. I'll tell you how to design your own program, the different axis of movement, everything that we've talked about. And I explain the exercise as well. So always start with the book, figure out if this is for you, if you love it, and start training that way. And if
Okay.
you want to get the program, that's fantastic.
Okay.
So we have the exercise on both. Now, let me see a really quick way to understand this is when we're doing a Kegel, what's happening is we're pulling up and then we're releasing. That's what's
Mhm.
happening. And so you're pulling up as if you were sucking in from a straw with your vagina, or as if you were holding your pee. And then we relax. What's happening here is that your muscles, your pelvic floor muscles, are just lifting and relaxing. Super normal. We do it multiple times. We do it when we're holding in our pee, when we're holding in a fart, because it basically covers the entire pelvic region. We do it when we orgasm involuntarily. We do it sometimes we do it when we're lifting weights. Pelvic floor is part of our core, so it will activate as well. So we do it pretty frequently. It's a
Okay.
very intuitive move, and your body knows how to do it. It's
Mhm.
the opposite of the pushing out motion of power peeing or delivering a baby, right? Now, squeezing, sometimes it's used interchangeably, but it's a completely different move. Squeezing, instead of pulling up, is pressing in. So your horizontal walls, imagine your right and left wall, are squeezing and pressing together to the center. So instead of shortening the vaginal canal by lifting up, you're narrowing the vaginal canal by pressing in. So they're almost like, I wouldn't say opposite moves, but they're completely different directions of movement. So kegling or contracting is an up and down movement, and squeezing or pressing
Okay.
is a horizontal movement. You're
That makes
coming away
sense.
from the wall. Correct.
Mhm.
A good way to kind of visualize this, squeezing is really hard to grasp at first, but once you do, every single other move of vaginal gymnastics is unlocked. Once you can understand the true difference between squeezing and kegling. But a great way to kind of understand it is this visualization. So imagine if you placed a blueberry at the entrance of your vagina, and your job is to kind of grip it and then pull it inside of you. That sort of flex that you first do to kind of grip it and grab it, that's your squeeze. And then that sucking up motion that you do, that's your kegel or your contraction. So you first kind of grip your muscles in place to kind of get your vagina tighter, to kind of
Right.
grip the blueberry. That's a squeezing motion. And then you suck in, whoop, you lift up, and that's your kegel. So
Okay.
that's a good way to kind of understand the difference between the two.
Yeah.
Now, squeezing at the beginning is going to feel very subtle because you haven't done it before, but it's super, it's one of the most powerful exercises you can do. So really understanding that difference, I dedicate an entire chapter of the book to that difference, because once you get it, everything else is much easier. So basically, squeezing is a flex. You're flexing your muscles. It's like the difference between lifting a weight with your bicep or just flexing your bicep. That's the difference between contracting and squeezing.
Mhm.
And you continue with that flexing and flexing and flexing until you feel like you can't anymore. And that means that you've successfully closed the vaginal canal, and then you can release again. Now, those are two different axes of movement. We have the vertical axis with the kegel, and we have the horizontal axis with the squeeze.
Mhm.
But then we have the sagittal axis or the frontal axis, which is the front and the back walls. And you can basically, a great way to learn how to squeeze the front and the back is by laying down on the floor and facing up and trying to press with the front of your vagina as if you were trying to bring it to the center of you, and then responding with your back. And the stronger that you'll squeeze with your front, the stronger the back will respond. And sometimes you'll feel your abs activating a bit when you press your front, and your lower back racing from the ground as you activate your back, because it's all part of the core, and they're all
Really?
together. Yes. So it's a great way to tell that you're doing it. But let's talk about something called biplanar movements, because we talk about
Okay.
3 planes of motion. You have the vertical, the horizontal, the front and back. But there are many exercises, the more complex they get, they combine planes of motion. So whipping is an exercise where essentially you're squeezing, but at different vertical levels up. So the squeezing motion that we just did, that flex, but you do it at the entrance, then in the middle of the vagina, and then at the top. And you're able to do it in a strong and fast fashion so that it ends up looking like this, like a
Oh
wave.
my God.
Yes. So you're doing like a wave of entrance, middle, top, entrance, middle, top, entrance, middle,
Uh-huh.
top. And essentially, yeah, it feels like a whip, like you're essentially creating all this friction inside your vaginal canal. And that feels amazing in the spooning position, standing position. In missionary, it feels really good. Like we did a huge survey on like what exercises pair best with each position. And so we have an entire module in the program on like how to use each move in different positions of sex. But ideally, you want to experiment with all of them, because couples end up finding their own sort of like choreography and like
Uh-huh.
staples in their menu of vaginal gymnastics. So yeah, so those are the things that you can start visualizing.
Okay.
And then milking is another exercise where we're doing really slow contractions up, really slow releases down, and then you're pairing that with penetration. So for example, you contract slowly up as your partner leaves your body, and then you're releasing as your partner enters, which might sound counterintuitive at first, but it feels way better, because what you're essentially doing is you're releasing your muscles and basically opening up and showing all the texture that you've been building through the week of training when he enters you, creating this resistance. And then when he exits your body, you're basically not allowing him to let go because you're pulling in. And that feels amazing. It's really great friction between you two. And so we have dozens of unique skills that feel completely different from each other, and you're going to love them in different positions. So a great part of this is training a new move and then experimenting in the bedroom where you like it best and what kind of orgasm it brings up for you.
Oh my God.
It's a lot. It's
I've
crazy
done a
stuff.
lot of podcasts on like pelvic floor, sex. We've had sex therapists on here, experts, like, because we talk about it, like that's how we learn. I want to take the shame and the like, oh my God, the taboo
Mhm.
around like sex and
Mhm.
stuff. This is blowing my mind right now. Like,
Yeah, it's
no
crazy.
one's even talked
No
about
one.
this before.
No, it's not there. It's not there. And so I'm so excited to bring it.
Yeah.
it's going great. We've been published by the Daily Mail. We've been published by Pop Sugar. Like stuff is happening. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I want everyone to have this. A lot of my students are like, if I want every woman to know this. And they're a little bit like, Kate, they don't want to have, they want to kind of gatekeep it. And I'm like, let's not gatekeep it, because here's the truth.
No.
Everyone has access to the gym or to body weight training, and yet we're not all jacked. So it doesn't mean that
Yep.
because the knowledge is out there, everyone's gonna do it. It's like anything else. We could all be playing the piano or the guitar. I could not do it.
Exactly.
Also, like it's not exactly that. So what I will say is the most groundbreaking thing in female pleasure right now, and this is me tinfoil hat on. I think a reason why we're not teaching more of this is because it fixes so many issues with the stuff that you already have. Like it's your own body. It's your
Seriously.
own body fixing
Mhm.
lubrication, fixing arousal, improving your orgasm. So like there's nothing to buy. Like even if you didn't want to get the book or you didn't want to get the program, and I have a lot of free resources that you can just start following. I have a blog, I have like a free guide. Like you can look at my TikToks. Like I love talking about this stuff. But it's obviously not as lucrative as like, thousands and thousands of dollars spent in a vaginoplasty, And it's
Right.
like, you can just train your muscles. And at any age, again, I have women in their 80s doing this and having a fantastic time. So in fact, I'm very proud that a lot of women were about to get a vaginoplasty. And I was like, no, let's see if we can train this first. And then if you want, you can do them. And yeah, they decided to spend their money,
Yeah.
save their money and take a trip to Cabo or something different than spending so much money on
Right.
vegetarian.
Well, and this is earned. This is going to be something earned, just like you said, the gym and your body, the strength down there and your power and your abilities is going to be based on your time spent on it and, working on it and stuff. And again, just like health and fitness, the benefits of this seem endless.
We
In a
keep finding
relationship
out
or
more and
single.
more. We keep finding more and more, and that's what blows our mind. Like we've helped women who had gone through sexual abuse before. We've helped women who have never experienced
Mm.
orgasms. We have a lot of women who feel like C-level Fortune 500 companies, and they're like, I feel very masculine. I feel like I'm more, and I want to feel a little bit more in touch
Yeah.
with this during sex. And they use it as a way to sort of like connect with their femininity and feel sexy and sensual. And so everyone has taken their practice and made it their own, because some women use it in a very more quote unquote dominant way. Like there's an exercise called locking, which basically means you can lock your partner inside of you and not allow him to get out and not allow him to orgasm. So you decide when he gets to orgasm, when you release. It's crazy stuff.
That's amazing.
And so some women go through that role and like they use it for edging and for getting control. And some women use it in a very submissive way. And some women use it just to connect more with their own pleasure. So like, and we
Right.
have women who are in same-sex relationships and they train together and it's beautiful. So I'm like,
Wow.
everyone has made the practice their own, which is what I really love about it. And I feel like in the sex industry, we're sometimes missing the point. We're making things feel a little bit unwelcoming for a lot of people. Like the fact that sometimes, websites are designed, in such a gratuitous way that I'm like, my mom would never purchase this. My mom would find it too intimidating. So I wanted to create something that every woman would feel comfortable doing. So yeah,
I love that.
it's been so
Girl,
nice.
I can't wait to get the book. Like I can't wait. And I'm going to blast it all over my story
Yeah,
too. And
I
like show
think
everyone how I'm
I
doing.
am so excited to see which is your favorite exercise. I can't. I always, every time I meet someone, I'm like, I think she'd like this one. But then they prove me wrong, or they're like, yep, this is the one. So I try to. It's like trying to guess someone's like horoscope sign. I don't believe in it. It's like when people who know about this stuff, they're like, I bet she's an Aries, and for me, it's like,
Right.
I bet that you would like twisting.
No, I
That's
think
my
this is
version.
great. And I feel like the more I talk about this too, I know it helps my audience and the listeners to feel more comfortable about it too. Like, okay, well, Melissa got the book and Melissa's trying it. Let me be the guinea pig. Let me be the hamster. I am for so many things. And I want to do this with everything with what we're talking about today too, and just keep
Yes.
removing that stigma around it and like help people live their best life ever. Like that's what I'm all about in all different areas of life, with your food and your workout and your mindset and your
Yes.
relationship and now your vagina. Like I fucking love that
Hell
so
yeah.
much. Okay, where can people find you? Where can we get the book? Because we'll put a link into the show notes for it. Where can they get the course? And I love that you said too, start with the book.
Yeah, start with the book.
Start with the book.
Mhm,
And then we
mhm.
can jump up to course and
Yeah, of
advance
course.
and This is so cool. This is going to change so many lives, Belle. Okay,
I'm
where can we
so
find
excited.
you, follow you, all the things?
So we have everything on goddess.com. You get access to the book, to the program, to coaching, to our blogs, to everything. And Goddess
Okay.
is GOHDDESS. So
Okay.
it's goddess with an H after
Yeah.
the O, because we like the O of orgasm. So Goddess, and that's where you get everything. You get access to our social media. You can find us on TikTok with the same
Okay.
name, Instagram, YouTube. We have really good content on YouTube as well. Everything is there. I wanted just one place where people could just find everything. So go to
Right.
goddess.com. You get access.
Okay.
You have a free guide that you can download. You can read everything about this. And I keep adding new blogs. I keep adding content because I'm in this for the long haul. I want to publish research. I want to get into, like, I want to teach it at school. Like, I want, not schools, I think it's a little young, but I want to teach it in workshops. I want people to have access to this. And yeah, it just should be a normal thing. It shouldn't be this weird esoteric knowledge. It should just be something that we all do. So yeah, that's my goal.
I love it. Well, college, I know
College,
like
that's
even
better.
college, could you imagine like girls learning this in college and knowing that they have that power and how much it would probably stop them from going out and making the wrong choices because they would value them and their gift and everything so much more. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
It feels like such a gift.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it on it. You don't just want to do it on anyone.
No.
Like some women have told me that they do it on like they do it as a revenge kind of thing. Like, for example, if they've been with a guy who's been kind of like a fuck boy and like they don't want to do the casual thing, but the guy wants to do the casual thing, they're like, okay, I'll fuck him just one last time and I'll do everything and he'll be haunted for life. And that's like, and I'm like, okay, you go, girl. You're in your evil era. I love
whatever
it.
you need, right? Oh my God. I love this so much. Belle, I can't thank you enough for coming on.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I think once I dive in more, I think it'd be really cool to do a part 2.
I would love that. I would love that. I think it would be great. I can't wait for you to learn about everything. Yes,
It makes me like sweat and nervous.
Oh my God.
I love it all at once.
You're
But
gonna have
I'm
so much
here.
fun.
I'm here for everyone to learn. And like, I just know that that's my mission and my goal of life is to like help other people live their best life. And that's, you
wonderful.
match that so much. And
Thank you
you're
so
part of it. So we are so blessed to have you here today. Everyone check out the show notes, get the book, follow along, find her on TikTok, Instagram, all the things, and stay connected because we all know how we like hear something and you hear a podcast and then you're like, yeah, that sounds cool. But if you stay connected and you follow and we pop up on your feed, you're gonna be like, oh yeah. And we need several reminders. Like, oh yeah, that was important to me. That spoke to me. So go to the show notes and follow and find. Thank you again, Belle.
Thank you so much, Mel. Have a great
You're
day.
amazing.
Thank you
You
so much.
too.
This is wonderful.
Everyone stay safe, stay healthy. Until next time.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Bye-bye.
The Bomb Life podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The content shared here is not intended as medical, legal, or professional advice. Always consult with a qualified professional before making any health, fitness, financial, or legal decisions. The opinions shared on this podcast are personal experiences and insight. So if you need expert guidance, go find the right professional for you. Thanks for listening.